You know, back in 2019, manhwa and anime fans used to make memes about how we may one day get a Solo Leveling Anime Adaptation, especially in 2020 when 3 popular Korean Webtoons received anime adaptations by Japanese studios. We're of course talking about Tower of God, The God of High School, and Noblesse. The sentiment was that if these stories can get an anime adaptation, then so can Solo Leveling. Well guys, fast forward to 2024 and it's actually happening. Solo Leveling is the hit anime sensation of the winter season. Brought to you by A1 Pictures, and with all things considered, it is definitely better than the Korean manhwa adaptations we received back in 2020. We're 3 episodes into the story at the moment, and the adaptation just continues to surprise everyone with every passing episode. It's not rushing the story like Tower of God, it doesn't have inconsistent production quality like Noblesse, and it definitely isn't just a glorified 12-episode-long trailer for the webtoon like The God of High School. But again, why should you care about Solo Leveling? Well guys, in this video we're going to talk about exactly that. We'll go through why this anime is on everyone's watch list and why it should be on yours too. Speaking strictly in terms of objective hype, Solo Leveling is by far the most talked about series of the winter 2024. To be fair, this year's winter season seems a little weak in my opinion. I know there's Classroom of the Elite and Mashal coming out, but compared to previous seasons' lineup, meh. Which is why I think everyone will be obsessing over Solo Leveling even more. Pretty much from now on up until April. Like seriously, who's gonna watch Fluffy Paradise? Anyways, heck. When was the last time you saw an anime premiere on Times Square billboard? But that's not where it stops. Solo Leveling debuted with the biggest premiere in the history of Crunchyroll, surpassing even Chainsaw Man. This gets even more impressive when you consider that, unlike Chainsaw Man, that was guaranteed to have a good adaptation and was also being hyped continuously for over 2 whole years, the Solo Leveling fans had no such guarantee. After all, the previous manhwa adaptations did not live up to their hype, did they? Still, the fact that the anime broke sites like Crunchyroll and took the community by storm is not a coincidence. It's been one of the, if not the most sought-after anime adaptation of a Korean webtoon. Though what exactly is the hype all about? What is it about the story that makes it so popular? At its core, Solo Leveling is a story about individual growth. In this world, random portals full of outer-worldly powers and monsters seem to have spawned out of nowhere. With this, some humans were also awakened with the special powers to take down these monsters. They're ranked all the way from E rank to S rank, based on their powers. Sung, our main protagonist, is granted the title of the world's weakest hunter. Well, yeah, as we see in the first 2 episodes, the guy looks like he'd be the prime target of physical trainers' attention, trying to sell him classes the moment he steps into a gym. What's interesting is that the rank you're given at the start will never change in this world. So if you're branded a noob, sorry, but you're gonna stay a noob your entire life. Or will he? Now, no spoilers, but the title is literally called Solo Leveling. And who doesn't love a weak MC premise? It's a relatively simple story that evolves into a much more complex one about 2 ruling god classes trying to find a hero. That's all I'm gonna say. This is much more than your typical, oh, I'm the weakest and now I'm the strongest. And my facial features and character design has also strangely evolved to be 1,000% more attractive for no reason. It's oddly refreshing in the sense that it is strictly about the protagonist himself. The Japanese name of the show literally translates to Only I Level Up, or of course Solo Leveling. And everyone loves a good old underdog story, especially one that actually delivers on its premise. Which brings us to the next point. Have the first 3 episodes actually delivered on the anticipation and the love the fans have for the story? Absolutely, 100% yes. The first 2 episodes together make up the prologue of the story, and the 3rd episode is where the actual premise starts. And well, let's just say that even though the story has only begun, the anime has already blown us away more than twice at the very least. The violent scenes have been shown without any kind of censorship, and you know what? Sung Jin-woon's voice actor was so in character for the ending of the episode that he was literally coughing up blood by the end of it. And that's just one example of the amount of love and care the creators are putting into making this adaptation a global success. They have definitely learned from the failures of the manhwa adaptations of 2020, and they're not holding back, especially when it comes to pacing. You see, the biggest problem with manhwa adaptations so far has been the pacing. You cannot reasonably cover long story sagas in a 12-episode long seasonal anime, and that's why a lot of stuff in story development was omitted. But Solo Leveling is not like that. 2 episodes were dedicated to covering the prologue of the series, and then in the 3rd episode, when the premise finally comes together, we only cover 2 chapters. That's actually quite commendable because they could have easily covered all of this in just the pilot episode and would have gotten away with it like the God of High School did. If you're the kind of person who likes to wait until after a season is over to binge it all in one sitting, you're going to have an absolute blast with this one. What does this mean? This means that the adaptation isn't just for temporary hype or simply for diverting attention back to the manhwa or the light novel. Rather, it's there to last. Solo Leveling's first season is going to be like the first season of One Punch Man. Mainstream, but also with high rewatch value. Though, of course, the gradual pacing can also be deemed slow for those who like Solo Leveling for its action. If I were to nitpick, I do think it was a bit random to awkwardly cut off to Jinwoo's sister and the S-rank hunter, Cho Hae-in, all of which has nothing to do with the MC's story in the first 2 episodes. But anyways, going back to the studio itself, A1 Pictures has produced plenty of well-known titles over the years. We're talking about Sword Art Online, Love is War, and Fairy Tail, just to name a few. Something these series and many other anime produced by A1 Pictures have in common is that they usually have sequels. If we consider the pacing of the episodes and if the anime keeps up the same level of popularity, it's reasonable to expect a sequel. Well, to be fair, even Tower of God ended up getting a 2nd season, so it's definitely not a stretch to expect the same from this one. It does the self-growth premise better than most isekai. The protagonist, Sung Jin-woo, is not like your usual shonen anime MC. To quote your average anime fan, Sung Jin-woo's got that dog in him. He is suspicious of the power of friendship and keeps secrets from others. He's not naive or idealistic either. It's similar to One Punch Man in the sense that, of course, unlike Saitama, who was already invincible since the start of One Punch Man, Sung Jin-woo's story takes us through the stages of his growth. Moving on to other aspects, you'd be pleased to know that the opening song and the first ending song were done by Hiroyuki Sawano. He's one of the most prominent names in the sound industry for several different anime and games, and you may also know him as the guy behind most of Attack on Titan's OSTs. The legendary UC Big Girl OST that is talked about in Attack on Titan community all the time is actually Sawano's work. Well, Sawano is playing a huge part in the sound and music department for this adaptation, and the studio has brought in new up-and-coming artists like Krage too. Same goes for the animation and the visuals. Kudos to the staff at A1 Pictures as well as their contractors because this is getting taken seriously. So, what do you guys think? Have you watched Solo Leveling? Are you also a Solo Leveling manhwa or light novel enjoyer?